Hey, it's Sarah Jepp from Close to the Earth IT Services at Apple Green Tech, and I wanted to talk about a few things having to do with software entitlement syndrome, is what I am preferring to call this very serious disorder. Not to make light of any physical disorder, but this is kind of like a mental and attitudinal disorder that is a real thing. And it affects software developers. It also affects like web designers or anyone who's putting their digital work out there. I'm sure it affects people who get their images ripped off. So if something is out there in the domain and it's made of software or it's a digital asset, a lot of people feel that they are entitled to that and that they can keep it because they can have access to it. And I think that probably started back in the Napster days, where people could download music or peer-to-peer file sharing, LimeWire, and it's actually continued on with the generations that are, I would say, the iPod, PC switchers that came on board to the Apple ecosystem, I would say right in the mid-2000s, where people actually feel like software is part of their computer and can't distinguish whether it's like software that they want, is it something that comes with their computer, and it becomes a little bit of a nightmare. Here, I'm going to tilt the camera this way because I haven't gotten to the kitchen cleaning yet, and it just, so it's something that has recently affected me in a couple of ways. Yesterday I set up a computer which had a few things going on. It had old software in Microsoft 2011, and if you're getting a new computer this year after not having a computer for a while, or you have a series, maybe you've had a new computer but you've migrated the software over generations of computers, Microsoft Office 2011 does not work with High Sierra in a full capacity. It's not going to be updated anymore. The working group is not going to provide security updates for it, and doesn't really work well. So that software upgrade is something you're going to have to do. Now, last week, I spent 2 hours on the phone with someone who called me in distress. And I guess I'm pretty much a sucker for the distress, but I always want to help people. And just said like, hey, my computer's not working anymore. Hey, hi, welcome, hello, welcome. So she was saying her computer's not working, all of her files are lost, and was in this real panic, which, I mean, I got panicked too, and I just wanted to help this person so bad. So we spent 2 hours on the phone together, and it turned out that her end goal was to use Microsoft 2011 instead of purchasing the new Office 365. So it should have taken that as a hint that I probably wasn't going to get paid, which turned out to be the case. So, it turned out I helped her for 2 hours. She agreed to my rate of $3 a minute for remote support. And then she like flipped out and refused to pay the bill. And I got this email, and I'm going to read it without the person's name because there's no need for that. But I'm just going to read you the email that I received because I was attempting to get paid actually, and just be cool, like, hey, you used 2 hours of service, so let's talk about what still needs to be done. Let's talk about what you need, and really, let's talk about paying my bill, but let's make it like something you want to do, because, we're cool. I helped you. Let's pay the bill. So I wrote, hi. Just to follow up to last week's remote session, how's everything going? Do you have any questions? Hope you had a nice weekend. So this comes before the bill, just to take someone's temperature. And a lot of times, if you just send someone an invoice, they're not going to be like, oh, great, cool, okay, I'll pay for it. I do have a number of clients who are nice like that, who are respectful and very professional, who are just like, cool, I paid for the service. I chose to use the service. I'm going to pay for it. All right. But I kind of had the feeling this wasn't going to be the case. So, hi, Sarah, not going well at all. Nothing worked as I was still having the same problems even after the update. I downloaded some updates from Adobe hoping that would help. We're talking about Adobe CS4. So let me just go to my trusty Google here and just confirm my suspicion that Adobe CS4 came out in, I think, 2004. Let's see here. Release date. CS4. All right, so let's see when that came out. Okay, 2008. So we're talking about decade-old software. Now, granted, this person had, at that time, an educational discount. And here's a tip. Adobe offers this awesome educational discount. So if you have an EDU email address and you're a student or an educator, you can get a great discount from Adobe. And so this person didn't qualify for that, but yeah. All right, so let's see here. I even downgraded to Sierra instead of High Sierra, but the program still wouldn't work. Plus, I couldn't get my backup to work either. So, just a shit show all around. I might have to call Apple support, but most likely I'm going to have to pay to get new software. So we're talking about the Adobe Creative Suite she's trying to make Adobe Creative Suite from 2008 work, and Microsoft Office 2011, which is 7 years old. Hey, hello, welcome. So trying to make old software work on a new program or a new computer because you don't want to pay for the software it's gonna be counterproductive for people. So the part that kind of like hit my ego was that I might have to call Apple support, as in the 800 number. And meanwhile, I kind of had to check myself because, I've got a lot more certification than anyone that works at AppleCare. But I just had to stop and realize if someone doesn't understand like software licenses or doesn't understand staying current and the value of that, they're not going to understand this certification over that one. And it's just my ego, and I need to slow my roll. Sometimes I need to do that. It's okay. I'm a human. I know how hard I've worked to get to where I am, to get to the level of expertise that I have in the Mac operating systems. And no one else needs to know, apart from being able to find me on the Apple website. And so I can calm down about that. But it really makes me feel irritated as someone who I have attempted to develop software and not really succeeded at that. Even though I know how to operate software, developing it is a whole different thing. It takes years, it takes hard work. I think I'm going to sneeze. Yep. I sneezed. So yeah, digital assets are not free to use. They're not. And if you're a consultant, your time is not free to use. So I set up a computer yesterday where I can't see any of the comments anyway, except for on Instagram I can. But yeah, I set up a computer yesterday, and the source computer was completely broken. It had a bad logic board. So I took the time machine backup, but the time machine backup was backing up an improperly functioning Mac. And then by the time the customer got it, she wouldn't spend any time with me to go over things. She just called me angrily and said, I have to go in 5 minutes. And she started yelling at me to the point where I couldn't sleep last night and I had nightmares. And Brian was like, are you okay? I'm like, how did you know I was having nightmares? He's like, I could tell. And yeah, it just gets so stressful. So all because people want to use this old software and not keep their stuff updated. And it's really, it's a problem. It's a problem. So yeah, I wanted to answer some questions too. The FaceTime line is open if anyone has questions or needs some help with something. I'm going to attempt to look on my other phone and see if there are any questions or comments. And see what's going on. Let's see here. One comment. Let's see. Questions or need some help with something. Oh, okay. Hey, Peter. All right, cool. So it's hard to manage like the comments and go live in 4 different places. And a lot of times you can't go back and see what people said. So sorry about that. Send me a message if you have any questions. But, if you're out on your own or you're just getting started in business, what you're going to find is extremely difficult personalities that you have to manage, and realize that a lot of times people will put you there in order to have someone to yell at, because they don't have to keep things cool with you. You're just there for one time. So it is about building relationships and building accountability. And sometimes you'll run into problems with people being really frustrated, but they can't express it any way, but yelling at you. And I mean, the place where I went to go work yesterday, the guy walked into the office like the main boss. And this is the second time that I've seen him. And he just pretty much he smelled like he stepped out of the Mystery Machine, just totally saturated with pot smoke. And it was like AM hours, I was there at, first thing when the doors open, and this guy just reeked of weed. And I mean, hey, nothing against people who smoke weed. Like, I voted for it, but I think it would just be really hard to deal with someone who's just high and trying to work. So I would imagine that probably factors in. It just makes tensions really fragile. So it's really important also when you're an entrepreneur, you're working for yourself, you're doing freelancing and consulting, to realize like a lot of this stuff is not going to be your fault. And especially if you're an IT person and you're going into a situation, even if they have new equipment, they've never had properly managed systems. So you have to be the one to be like, hey, I can solve this problem, but also be willing to cut your losses, because it might not be worth it. It might not be worth it to pursue a business relationship with someone who's got like some pretty obvious foundational and structural problems in their organization. It might not be worth it to be that person who's like, yeah, I'm going to help you, because sometimes it's not really worth trying. So you have to just go through that discovery process and decide for yourself whether it is worth it or whether it's not. And a lot of times it's just not going to be worth it. And you know what? That is okay. You can choose. Even if you're just starting out, I want to just let you know that you can choose who you want to work with. You have the right to choose who you want to work with. And if stuff starts coming up that is really toxic, make sure that your payment structure is such that you're getting paid right away for your work. Don't stretch out projects for over months. Don't do it to yourself, because you're really going to find that you put yourself in a situation where you can't get out. So that would be my advice to people just getting started. When you're getting started in consulting or freelancing, make sure that you've got short increments of time whether it's a day rate or whether it's hourly, and you invoice for that day or those hours at the end of the day and get paid. Get paid as soon as you can, because then you can decide whether you want to stay or whether you want to move and try to find better clients for you, because a toxic situation doesn't get better. It does not get better. You can be coming in with your best self and all your grooviness, and it still won't automatically improve by itself. So it's okay to realize, like, hey, not being met where I am, these people aren't really valuing me, it's time to move. So in this situation, I have to actually go back today and fix some of the things that this lady doesn't know how to operate, and just make sure that everything is cool. But doing additional work, I'm going to really outline the parameters, and maybe I'll give it another shot. But also, their dog almost attacked me. That was really crazy. It's like a giant dog that was like as big as a German Shepherd, but it looked like a tiny little poodle. But it was like 100 pounds, and it was like barking and lunging at me and stuff. You don't really have to go for that. Hey, hi, welcome. Just going live to talk about freelancing, talk about being your own boss, some of the problems that you might encounter, and answer any questions. So if you have any questions about that, hey, write it in the comments and I'll be able to see it as long as you're on Instagram. So yeah, you can decide where you want to be, especially if you're working for yourself, and you might think like, oh my gosh, I'm working for myself. I have to take whatever I can get. That's true to a degree. You have to be reasonable, but at the same time, when situations are really toxic or weird, there's weird energy, your boundaries and limitations that you've really set are being crossed, you do not have to take that. So there are other ways to make money. There are other ways to find clients. And if you're dealing with clients that are toxic in a bad situation, you're actually blocking the abundance that the universe wants for you. I really believe that. So if you're stuck in a situation freelancing, find a way to free yourself, because there's a way that you can invoice for your time that doesn't make you wait for a month to get paid, where you're keeping everything cool. I had a friend who was a freelancer working for magazines, and she had to wait 30 days to get paid. Don't get into those kind of situations. There's no reason for that. So I guess that's the advice that I have, my anti-advice. I'm just going to refresh the Facebook feed to see if there's anything here. It doesn't look like there is. I don't know. I can't test the live stuff. So, sorry guys. If there are any other questions, please message me. You can tweet at me. You can, I don't know, send an email. You can go to closetotheearth.com and see what services I provide. So closetotheearth.com is where you'll find me in the Apple Consultants Network in Malibu, California. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. Keep freelancing. Keep rocking it. And that's it.
Cool.